Greetings and salutations, this is Jason Silverain, and today I'll be taking a look at SakuraGame's more recent release, Otaku Fantasy 2, otherwise known as Monmusu Conquered World. Why they renamed it for Steam, I don't know, but on its other sites it's available on, it's about $18. On Steam, £1.69. That may sound quite a good deal, but I'm going to tell you why it's not. Now, with Japanese audio, it was originally translated from Japanese to traditional Chinese and from traditional Chinese into English, except they've used Google Translate, and it's one of the worst translations I've ever come across. SakuraGames already has a mixed reputation for its releases on Steam, often focusing on more adult games, so heavily censoring them to get onto the Steam store, and then translating them at the lowest budgets possible. This is one of the worst censorship and translations I've come across. I'm just going to show it to you, and you'll see why. The game itself is split into two styles of play. Our first one I'm going to cover is this RPG Maker mode, which isn't really traditional RPG Maker style game. It actually reminds me of Eaten Alive, where you have characters moving around, and you've got to avoid them. See, these monster girls, if they spot you, will pursue you. And if they manage to catch you, they will do a mini game where they essentially attempt death by snoo, and yeah, as you can see, heavily censored, apart from the audio. And you've got to essentially do a clicking mini game to get them off you before they get you off. So I say, as your health bar decreases, and once it decreases all the way, you lose a life, giving you a chance to escape like I just had there. Throughout this, these areas you get often things you can pick up, and you can sell those to buy potions and other equipment from shopkeepers for the battles later on in the game. Now that's a little pointless, because as I was going to show you my stats, level 176, looks high, doesn't it? Absolutely pointless, because every single encounter with the monster girls goes the same way. You have a visual novel section where the character runs into one of them. You then go into a battle with them, and they kill you in a single hit regardless of what you do. You cannot actually win. They're all hopeless bosses. You can't even hurt them in most cases. You then have where the adult section would be, where you're essentially come to a sticky end. And then your character manages to gain himself, basically resurrects as part of the story, and attacks the monster girl again, and your levels and stats are boosted. Because each time your character dies, he comes back stronger. Again, it's all part of the plot, which is terrible. The whole plot being that monster girls have essentially invaded the world, killing all the inhabitants via death by snoo, and your character finds a magic sword that lets him resurrect every time he dies. So you can imagine most of the game involves you being basically raped to death. Yeah, it's not fun reading, to be honest. If this had a female main character, there'd be a flimming up in arms about it. It's not nice, and hell, it's not nice reading because of the sheer terrible translation. Never mind the actual plot itself. So once you resurrect and you go into the next stage of combat, you kill them in one hit, nearly every single time. There was only one combat, about 2/3 of the way through the game, that was actually a proper combat. So all these items I have, and even though I've got the ability to equip items which increase my stats, pointless. Just, why is it even in there? There's no reason it should be even in the game. So yes, it gets even worse when you do have the CG. Because as you go along, there's usually like 3 or 4 different animated CGs you can collect in each area. So it's actually trying to promote the player to get caught, to collect them. But they put the CG preview pictures like here in this corner and block half the damn screen in that area, so you can't see anything like which way you're supposed to go, if there's any pickups there, is anyone you're trying to avoid there. It just is stupid. Also, what really annoys me with the plot is, at the moment, I mean, this is near the end of the game, I'm supposed to be the only human in this area, but for some reason, here is my local shopkeeper, known as Businessman, because they've used the gender-neutral traditional Chinese translation instead of putting shopkeeper or businesswoman. It's just translated really badly. Returning to the main screen for a moment, I just wanted to highlight something else with the game. The game itself actually has several different artists that worked on it, and even from this picture you can see 3 different art styles. So even if you go through the game and see these images, if you've got the uncensored version, or even with the censored version really, because you still get to see the main character silhouettes, it's kind of off-putting that the art's direction changes so frequently. So that's another weird choice with the game. I mean, the CG itself isn't terrible. Each individual has about 3 or 4 images related to them. It covers a variety of tastes, shall we say, but nearly all of them have the same common thing, where the guy is essentially being tortured. So again, if you somehow still want this game and it's piqued your interest, keep that in mind. As I say, it fails on all its degrees. The censored version is downright terrible in terms of actual gameplay. The plot's bad to begin with, made worse by the terrible translation. Even if you enjoy the this sort of content and have these sort of tastes between a guy basically being raped to death repeatedly, there's so much faff in between, the various scenes. It was, you're not going to have much fun out of that. I don't know, someone out there might like this, but I just think it fails as an adult game and also as a game in general. It's just a bit pointless, and that's all I've got to really say on this one. I've kind of been left a bit speechless about how this is even on Steam and how it's not managed to get itself removed